A week or two ago, we talked a bit about some of the bombshell reporting coming out of the Modern Warfare 4 development. Not this year, but next. It's weird to have all this stuff coming out so far in advance, but it may be a good marker for things you may or may not be looking forward to. One thing that I personally am looking forward to comes from a leaker in the community that's discussed the flip side of the Modern Warfare 4 coin, not pertaining to multiplayer or Warzone or anything, but instead the very fabric of what will make up the game. A narrative and story. So today we're taking a look at and filling you in on what you need to know. Drop your thoughts, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe to the main and second channel, as well as if you want to follow over on Twitch and join the conversation live. I'd love to have you in all those places. But anyways, let's talk about these story details. So these come from leaker Vondia's Pog, where he passed along a little bit about what he had heard. He said Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4's campaign will follow a structure similar to the original Modern Warfare trilogy and Modern Warfare 2019, following a split narrative between Task Force 141, accompanied by SAS, and Demon Dogs, accompanied by the USMC. The main antagonist will be Makarov's inner circle, along with the Russian Federation. There's also some sort of side plot involving South Korea, but unsure what exactly it will entail. Each point of view will be tonally quite different, with Task Force 141's being more akin to the rebooted series with a focus on stealth infiltration and high-action, hero-esque segments, while Demon Dogs will be more akin to the American missions in the original trilogy, with a focus on immersive urban firefights and CQB room-clearing segments. As far as characters, the Demon Dogs POV, it's seemingly just Griggs and new characters. With 141, its obvious members, yes, Soap is, in fact, still dead. Price being wanted for Shepard's murder doesn't seem to be too major of a plot point. Last story comment is the game will be attempting to go for Modern Warfare 2019's strategy of containing many shock value moments and a much darker tone. There will be less of an emphasis on 141 being heroes and more so just above average soldiers that are revered as being the best of the best and willing to do anything to accomplish the mission, with morals taking more of a backseat against what gets results. As previously leaked, there is some sort of New York City mission, although rather than it being an invasion like the original Modern Warfare 3, it seems to be a terrorist attack by Makarov, being a false flag attack posing as Russia. It also seems this mission is a flashback, taking place shortly after Modern Warfare 3. Quick comment on setting, Modern Warfare 4 is taking a bit of a near-futuristic approach similar to Black Ops 2 and Ghosts. The game will attempt to remain grounded while also taking creative liberties with the technology of a world living in the aftermath of Black Ops 2's second Cold War. The game is scheduled to release in 2026 under Infinity Ward as the lead developer. The studio has undergone quite a few changes in leadership since 2022's Modern Warfare 2. One thing to remember with these reports, we are still so far out, so things are absolutely subject to change, cut, and more, but this seems to check out from various sources and prior reporting. So honestly, there's a lot to unpack here, but I'm actually kind of excited for this, the story. Not talking about literally anything else that may be associated with this game, but the story. I'm excited to see where the Modern Warfare narrative goes. I feel like the last few years, my outlook on what I want in a game has changed drastically, from like growing up, always wanting to stomp in multiplayer games, to be the best at those, playing competitive, doing all that nonstop, to now in the last couple of years, I just want a good story to follow. I want something to be worth my time if I'm playing multiplayer, have something to do like a camo grind or like recently 100%er like I did in multiplayer, to things like last year with Modern Warfare 3, the events there that actually made playing worthwhile, though albeit it did have a lot of fear of missing out elements in that. But because of all that, I've been really big into single player stuff that's really resonated with me. Like, I'm still pretty picky on what I want out of a story experience, but once I connect with it, I like hyperfixate on it. I love it, and the multiplayer stuff I don't really care as much about anymore after I complete said goals. But anyways, Modern Warfare, I always thought has been pretty solid with the story. Obviously, growing up with the original trilogy, picking up my first COD games with it, and then the rebooted series, which I thought Modern Warfare 2019 did a pretty good job at reinventing the characters to some degree, while keeping them true to who they initially were fundamentally, retelling with a different universe. Modern Warfare 2, I dug for the most part because I love the Sicario films, and let's be honest, from leaked details about development and just simply what you can see with your own eyes, It was a Sicario film told through the lens labeled Modern Warfare. And then Modern Warfare 3, it was filler. I don't really consider that to be a full campaign, truthfully, but Infinity Ward, I think, has always done story well. Infinite Warfare, for how much grief that game got, the narrative and the campaign was phenomenal in that. Ghost was pretty good. I kind of think that the cliffhanger was almost a forced cop-out of an ending. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but of course, then you're back into the original trilogy. So for this narrative leak, there's a lot to unpack here. Universe meshing, first and foremost, is at the most explicit degree that we've ever seen. It's near future, not so much modern apparently, which means we won't see the campaign launch with a date that's a few days removed from the launch date like we've seen the last couple of years. I mean, I remember how cool it was for the immersion of things for levels like Clean House and Modern Warfare 2019 as a first element. If you booted up that game on launch day, you start playing, you know you're going into a gritty level here, and then you look down and see the intel for the mission is October 27th, 2019. Like, there was a prime chance, especially if you had jumped into multiplayer first, that you were playing that campaign level on the day that it was set. That's so cool to me, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be doing that as much here, following a little more in terms of near future elements, because apparently going to follow Black Ops 2's and Black Ops 7's second Cold War, basically tying the universes explicitly together. This has been the case in the COD universe since 2019 and the Modern Warfare reboot with explicit tie-ins, most notably the inclusion of Zakhaev in the Cold War mission Desperate Measures, where he's in discussions with the KGB in the Lubyanka building, but this will seemingly be a direct handoff narratively from Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 7 directly to Modern Warfare 4. Whatever becomes of the COD universe with the campaign of those games will directly set up where we go with our narrative, it seems like, in Modern Warfare 4, which is cool, but also very interesting, perhaps. So I'm sure some people will love the, like, Easter egg tie-in, even though it's not really an Easter egg at that point, but others probably won't. They'd probably prefer it still to be Modern Warfare and Black Ops. The tone of this, though, seems to be darker, which I think is very good. This might be an attempt to get back to a more grounded approach to the storytelling and what we have in terms of the gameplay experience. I mean, every single year, especially as of late, we see things kind of go off the rails with zany cosmetics. In the past, you'd count on thematic continuity being there until at least season 4, 5, or 6, but since Cold War and more recently, it's not really been the case. We've started to see cosmetics getting crazier and crazier and sooner, with our first insane skins for this year coming in Season 1, but frankly, some of those you could consider into the beta with the Vault Edition skins that were available there. Say what you will, one thing that I will definitely give props to Modern Warfare 2019 for was the tonal continuity in skins. We had some crazy skins in the Halloween event, sure, but that was in Season 6, and that was at the very tail end of the life cycle of the game. They didn't really care, the game was over, content, whatever. They weren't going to see us for another couple of years. But until then, most of, if not all of the character uniforms were grounded and rooted in a realistic approach to modern military. Personally speaking, and it has to be said, I ultimately don't care. Like, if you like your skins, good for you, that's awesome. I also like some crazy skins, but I personally think in recent years that it's creeping up pretty quick into the earlier portions of the year, but personally, I think that it'd be nice to get back to that point. Keep the tonal continuity of the narrative of the game a little bit longer. Observing trends, I kind of feel like that's ultimately one of the downfalls of where interest starts to trail off. Correlating to when those are introduced post-launch year over year, I mean, it could be entirely coincidence, but I feel like the last few years, interest seems to be falling off earlier and earlier, which coincidentally, again, is when those skins are starting to be introduced to kind of become cash cows in the shop. But anyways, we're kind of veering off into a different topic. The big bad for Modern Warfare 4, Makarov and that inner circle, akin to the original trilogy, but with the help of the Russian Federation here. I'm excited to see where they decide to go with that story, if that's actually going to happen. I'm glad to see a continuation or resolution of this, given that Modern Warfare 3 ended so abruptly. Like, there's a clip somewhere, if I can find it, I'll include it, of me playing through the campaign and literally chasing Makarov after he killed Soap, because I thought that's where the story was going to go next. Like, I was like, surely he doesn't just get away. But lo and behold, he does indeed get away. And to make it even worse, that's the end of the campaign. Like, I think if the campaign was maybe 2 to 3 more missions long, it wouldn't have been as bad. Like, even if that was the build up to the climax of a showdown, where it then continues on into Modern Warfare 4, that was just such an abrupt ending that it kind of pissed me off. That to me cemented it as a filler campaign. So to see the return of Makarov and hopefully have some actually fleshed out resolution of this sort of now 4-game story arc, I'm looking forward to that. multiple perspectives is also something that's very cool. I think that it's a way that's going to, again, keep it a little bit more grounded, going from the sort of spec opsy and elite super soldier type stuff that we see with Task Force 141, but then going over to Demon Dogs is going to be great as well, because that is truly like the war story at that point, where they're on the front lines, they're taking fire from the enemies, and you're just in that urban combat weaving in and out, like we saw within COD 4. That made for some incredible moments, and I think it'll be cool to recapture that if they can. Task Force 141 now sounds like more akin to Modern Warfare 2019 and the reboot. Gritty, willing to do whatever it takes, and not the hero elements of it, which I don't know if that's me personally, but I feel like in the universe of Modern Warfare and the narrative, like, I don't think that they were ever seen as like super soldiers, but still, I'm curious to know why it seems like the execution of Shepard really has no weight in what the story is shaping up to be. Like, I get that Price killed Shepard when no one is around, just him, Price, and Shepard, but like, it's still, that feels weird. Like, surely there'd be some sort of surveillance, but I guess just like Soap, it's a semi-meaningless death with no resolve. But Demon Dogs, I'm, again, interested to see this perspective, going back to a more gritty nature on it. I talked on stream the other day about it, but there's this one thing that I find kind of funny through the explicit mention of Griggs returning in Demon Dogs. For those unaware, Griggs is a real person. It's Mark Grigsby, former lead animator with the studio way back in the day. I mean, he was Griggs in the original COD 4. That's him, the same guy. Also the same guy who does Deep and Hard, the song that will play in the credits of COD 4, but he later left a few years after that, working at Respawn on Titanfall, and then came back for the reboot of Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2. So Griggs is a real guy, but the funny thing to me about it is that you're not just playing alongside this character that is some guy at Infinity Ward, somebody that's like down in the trenches or anything like that, but Griggs is now the studio head of Infinity Ward. So it's no longer just a random employee, but like, you're playing as the guy who decides what happens at Infinity Ward now, which is funny trivia to me, but anyways, yeah. So I'm excited for this again, the story. I have to reiterate that so much, the story. I'm looking forward to what that will entail and eventually be. I've said it before, we'll probably have to say it quite a few times here going into next year and the launch of everything, but multiplayer, jury's still out, man. I'm still waiting to see what we have for that, either gameplay-wise or more detail-wise. I think that come early 2026, I'll kind of have an interesting decision to make with content. Either cover it solely as a job, as it's been, or enjoy it as well, like I have with a couple of games in the past couple of years, but not every single one. I think even if there is a situation where the last couple of years, they've brought people out to see it right before the reveal, but they can't talk about what they played until the multiplayer reveal, I feel like if that's the case, you're probably going to see some tonal differences in how I present on if I like it or if I dislike it, and also the frequency of said presentation. Like, if I don't care for the game, I'm probably not going to cover it as much, but yeah, we got some time to lead up to that, and I'm very curious to see how that's all going to shape up. To each their own. I just didn't like Modern Warfare 2. I didn't like the lack of compromise with the community over gameplay decisions. I just didn't ultimately have fun. That's why we started to upload other games on the channel, which in hindsight, tremendously am thankful for that, because holy hell is it cathartic to break the mold after 10 plus years of one franchise out of fear of losing the viewership you attempted to build up for just as long. It is, it's so nice to be able to just upload what I want. So I'm not gonna just immediately be excited for it, but for the story at least, I am looking forward to what we see here out of this. And initially, from what we've heard so far, I mean, it sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to at least the single player. But for now, that's what's going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below on these leaks. Like the sound of it, dislike it, hope it stays more tonally down to earth. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like on it. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty, all things Black Ops 6, Black Ops 7, because we still have a whole year before we get to this, and then what may be Modern Warfare 4 in the future, as well as other FPS content out there. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care, and peace.